Hello and welcome to Elvatech's channel. And today we have the special edition because I have a pleasure to host the interview with Mr. Alexander Filippo. He is the founder and he is the director of Elvatech. And we will go through the question answer. So we have the QA format today. And well, my first question will be with a little attachment to it, because we are not talking only to the business owner and founder, but actually Alexander, together with his friend, business partner, and actually our current director, Mr. Victor Martinuk, they built the very first benchtop analyzer themselves on Elvatech back in 1999. So it's been already 25 years since our first device was built. And the most, I think, practical question here is what actually inspired you and motivated you to create Elvatech?
Good question, Denis. It was really 33 years ago, and I was so young, I don't remember exactly. But probably the main idea was to bring the analytical technology closer to the users, closer to the customers, because that time this technology was quite difficult to use. It could be used only by professionals in some special laboratories and so on. And our idea was to bring at that time we even not dreamed about to bring it to the hand, but we decided to bring it at least to the table, to the bench. So the main idea like this.
Oh, great. So it means that not only professionals can use this equipment, but also the users who have the basic knowledge, right, about this machines.
Yes, exactly.
And well, it's really great because a little remark, the company was founded in 1991, and it was the first year of Ukrainian independence, actually, and things were really shaky on political field, economical, industrial also. And the idea to make something new was like in the air, inspired, and to build something that everybody can use. It's affordable for everybody in a matter of using it. And the second question would be more specifically about the devices. Going through all these years, all 33 years, and creating a lot of devices, because Mr. Alexander has its personal touch in every model that was created by Elvatech. What would you underline as the most, most useful advances of our equipment?
Okay, well,
advantages.
Yes. At the beginning, you told that I'm owner. I'm actually co-founder of the company, and the company was founded by me and my good friend Victor Martinuk, and we are both PhD in physics. So the idea to work with analytical equipment with technique which is based on the physical principles. It's our idea and our dream how we could implement our knowledge to our business. So I think the main contribution to this field is the development of the world's first benchtop XRF spectrometer. It's not actually not first benchtop spectrometer, but it was the first spectrometer equipped with high resolution detector and low powered X-ray tube. It allowed it to bring it to the table because it's low power consumption and no need to use the liquid nitrogen for the cooling of the X-ray detector. And it was really the first one which became commercially available in the market. Because some other developments in this field also were were developed in some other places as well. But on the market, the first benchtop analyzer came from Elvatech. I believe that this is the biggest contribution.
Yeah.
So about the advantages of our products, at that time, the main advantage is possibility to use the spectrometer and the table, not in the big premises with kilowatts of power, with cooling water, with nitrogen, everything.
A lot of consumables.
Yes, but it's like the switch from the big computers to the PC, to personal computers. So
to device.
We introduced the personal XRF.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. So you made from the system the device. Basically, you slightly reduce the size, like where you want.
Greatly reduce the size.
Greatly reduce, and the new technology improved. Without the consumables, can work itself.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, that's great. Yeah, and for now.
The main advantage of our spectrometers is the speed. Because we developed our special digital pulse processor, which is one of the main part of any spectrometer, of any X-ray fluorescence spectrometer, and this DPP works really much faster than traditional one. So we increased the speed of operation by factor of 4 and even more. And that is why the main advantage of our equipment which we produce right now, it operates four times faster than any other on the market.
So
the speed of operation is not it works faster and that all. The faster operation, very important thing, and produce the secondary advantages of the process. So the faster operate the system, you can make more measurement per working day, and so the productivity is rising. Also, faster operation, especially for handheld device, is very important because the handheld device works with the open beam. So X-rays coming out from the instrument, and the dose of radiation is very small, but it exists.
Yeah.
And when we switch the X-ray tube for only 1 second, it's much better and less harmful than operated for 5 or 20 seconds.
Yeah.
That is why this is very important advantage. Also, the handheld instrument operates from the battery. So the less time it use X-ray tube, the longer time for the battery without recharging.
Yep.
Other advantages, if the system operates faster, we can reach lower detection limits, and we can reach twice better accuracy and precision.
Overall,
Yes.
And as I understand, it also saves the lifetime of the device, right? Because
of course, X-ray tube operates very short time. So if the resource of the tube like 10,000 hours, and one measurement is 1 second, it's almost infinite.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. Well, that's great. And we also know that our devices can be used in a lot of different industries, a lot of different fields, and actually on a lot of different stages of the process when you need to check the incoming product to verify its quality. But what industries benefits the most from its rays? Where it's mostly useful?
Benefits most, maybe any industry where the composition of material is important, is crucial, have benefits.
Yeah.
The most obvious field is the analysis of jewelry and precious metals. This was, by the way, the first field of where we started our operation with benchtop system. It's a measurement of the gold and jewelry. The benefits is obvious because the gold percentage in the item defines its price.
Yeah.
And even small deviation of gold content like 75% or 75.1% changes the
purity,
the cost, changing the purity changes the cost of the system.
Yes, yes.
So that is why this field is more obvious how to estimate the importance of the instrument. But in other fields like, for example, mining, you need to know the concentration of elements in the ore to understand which process to use. So it's not just so directly like in gold analysis, but anyway it's very important. In metallurgy, when you produce some alloys or steels, the composition of this alloy or steel defines its grade, and the grade of steel or any other alloy defines where you can use it. So for each application, you can use the proper grade with proper composition. It's in this industry, I mean, which is working with metals, a lot of different applications, starting from the scrap sorting, which goes to the recycling, production of the alloy. Then this ready metal goes to the factory where it used for some manufacturing. Also, they need to be sure that they get from the supplier the right grade of the metal to put it in the operation, to put in for making from this metal some parts or mechanism or some so on. So almost any industry where the composition is crucial, it's
important and needs to be used.
Even, for example, medicine, the composition of microelements in the human body is very important. It provides some ideas about the health of the human. So we can we can analyze, for example, the human hair and define the composition of essential and also harmful elements like maybe
some
lead
harmful for humans' body, dangerous. Maybe let's think about the most that gets the financial benefits, like rare earth elements, right? If because we have the non-destructive analysis and it saves maybe this particular field.
Maybe, but actually it's not so widely used application. The most widely used application is, of course, the analysis of metals, analysis of in field of mining, and the analysis of gold and jewelry.
Where the most used?
Yes, most widely useful.
I got it. Well, that's great. And and could you tell us about the most, let's say, powerful devices of Elvatech, and what's actually make it this this good? Is this something that consists only from parts, like spare parts, or is this something that innovation of Elvatech used in this device?
Yes, of course. I already mentioned it about the main innovation is our proprietary digital pulse processor, which allows to operate much faster than any other similar devices on the market. This is the major the major our idea which we implemented in our devices, but there are also a lot of smaller ones which we also developed for our devices and implemented there, and also it's not only parts, it's also software, because our analytical software is very powerful. We continuously improving it, and we have the new release like every 3-4 months.
Yeah.
We have a new release with new features, with improved capabilities, with increased accuracy, and so on.
So it's always to not only to stay to date, but it's always to give something to the market also.
Yes,
right? To bring
of course.
it. Yeah, that's great. And can you tell us something about our key models, like ProSpector 3 that you already mentioned?
Yes.
Yes, and maybe, yes.
Yes, at the handheld line, the ProSpector 3 now is our top model, and it's really the unique instrument because you can see it's very small. It's much smaller than any other, at least 5 centimeters smaller than any other. It's very convenient to use it, very convenient to put it in the holster, remove, operate. It's much lighter. Its weight like 1.1 kilo, while other handheld instrument in average is 1.5 kilo. It's looks like the difference not so huge, but when you operate all the day, taking it in the hand, this 30, 40, 300, 400, 500 grams, it's very important to keep it in hand. And,
you feel it extra, really.
And also, when you measure the sample, you have to put it to the sample or to some object and press the trigger. And we need to press the trigger for only 1 second, like this. So if you must to keep trigger press it,
hold it
20 seconds, and your hand becomes
shaky. Analysis not accurate.
Will be not, not
absolutely.
so good.
Absolutely.
Yeah. For the benchtop system, we created very close coupling of geometry of the X-ray tube and X-ray detector. That is why we can use X-ray tube with 5 watt power only and get the X-ray flux much greater than other system with 50 watt X-ray tube. So because the distance is crucial in this case, and we place the tube and detector very close to the sample. That is why we could use 1 watt even, and getting very high count rate, and we can catch this count rate by our detectors and DPP. I think this
the key feature.
The key feature.
The geometry.
Well,
that's great. Well, if we place ourselves on the side of the customer, and if we will think of the customer, what is the main difficulties with choosing the right spectrometer?
I understand. Yes, a lot of people trying to choose using the price. They just check the price of different manufacturer, different supplier, and if the customer have no deep knowledge about the technology, he can choose the cheapest one. It's from my point of view, it's absolutely wrong way. So need to know. The customer need to know his application exactly, what he going to measure, what he going to analyze, which elements, which concentration range, in which matrix, and after that they could choose the analyzer that solves his application, his task in the best way. So in our website and our blog, we have a very good article about how to choose the analyzer, and we explain which part of analyzer is responsible for what, for what it is responsible. For example, if you need to analyze the light elements or you don't need to analyze light elements, you can choose different type of detectors, different kind of X-ray tubes with different target materials, and so on. So better to explain your application, your analytical task to experts, to us or to
professionals,
who know it, and ask about help to choose the right instrument. Because of course, yes, if you not limited in the finance, you can buy just the most expensive, but you will use it for 1% of its capabilities. Maybe for your application is just waste of money. So better to consult the experts.
So yeah, basically it is a usual thing because we automatically see the price tag, and this is the first thing visual for us. But if we're talking about the technology, this is definitely not the first point you should take a look at, right? You should watch the capability, what you need, and how powerful should be the device. So basically the key factor and the price tags goes for like the second place probably.
And also even if take a look to the price, one must estimate not only price of purchase. It also very important the cost of ownership, because the instrument could be cheap, but you, for example, have to change have to replace some very expensive part like yearly or monthly. And you bought a cheap instrument, but after 1 year it becomes not so cheap. After 10 years it's
like it sounds
like all the money of the world.
It sounds like very dangerous subscription for a few years ahead, right?
Yes.
Well, that's cool. How our devices can benefit our customers with improving the quality control, and increase efficiency of their business. Like if we can say any like practical case, that would be great.
Increasing the efficiency of his business, again, very very easy to explain on the example of the gold jewelry. So any jewelry item has a stamp inside with marked with the HSA, like 750 or 5H5. It means there are in many countries, main countries, there are some state SA offices which check every item which manufacturer bring to it and put the stamp. Put the stamp. To put the stamp, the item should be like for 750, it must contain 75% of gold. 74.9 could not be stamped. So, if the manufacturer don't use any analytical equipment, he prepared the alloy, like mixing gold, silver, and copper, and some other elements, for example, zinc and nickel, and calculates the percentage of gold, like weighting it before the melting. But during the melting, some of the elements can evaporate, some of the elements can dip down, something like this, and the final alloy may differs a bit from the composition of the metals which he put inside. Moreover, when he putting inside the pure gold, he actually not sure that gold is really pure. Because he don't have instruments.
Just believe the word.
He just believe it. And then he brings to the SA office. SA office measures, analyzing, and no, it's not 750. I will not put the stamp. You should to melt the item again and produce right
proportion.
Right proportion. But this is already not only metal. This is maybe beautiful item which was made by designers and professional
jewelry.
Masters, and it's very pity to put it again for the remelting. what they can do, I will not buy the instrument because this is very expensive. I just will put more gold initially. And I will make not 750, I will melt like 755, 0.5% extra. And they will stamp my items. Yes, they will stamp, but you will lose half a gram of the gold. And if you're quite big manufacturer, and for a year you, for example, manufacture, make the items with total weight like 10 kilo or 100 kilo, you can calculate. And for 1 year, it will be more losses,
way cheaper,
more losses than buying the right instrument.
Yes.
So in other instruments, it's not very like so straightforward explanation. But anyway, the using of the material with wrong composition in any industry produce the loss of money.
Yes. So it's basically just a one piece of a chain that will hold another, and it's take a big chain. So, all right, that's great. All right, so what new technologies or future plans for creation you have now?
You mean which new technology we are going to implement in the future devices?
If you can uncover just a bit, it would be awesome. Not everything.
Yes, of course. First of all, we are still working. Nevertheless, this system we have is already the smallest and lightest. The next generation will be even lighter. So I believe that the next generation will be the first on the market analyzer with total weight is below 1 kilo.
Cool.
Concerning the new technologies, of course, it's AI. We are integrating AI in our software. Of course, it's using of the cloud technology to save result, to communicate with the community of our user, and so on. It's mainly in this direction.
Oh, so great. So it's always room to improvement,
yes,
right? Because,
sure.
We have the lightest, fastest, and smallest device, but we can do it even faster, right? So
even faster, and even smaller, and even lighter. And
so
we know how to do it, and we are working on it.
Basically, make a more comfort to any user to use it. All right. So, okay. So the interesting question, and it's mostly on your imagination, right, and your data. How do you see the XRF market, let's say in period of 5 or 10 years?
I believe the market will continue rising. The more instrument will be comfortable for using. Easier for using, the wider range of the customer will use it.
So it's always opportunity, and there is new fields discovered, right?
Yes, also the new fields of application will arise, and probably will be wider used in existing fields of application, but where they is still not using very wide, like in the agriculture, for example. It's very perspective field for implementation of the X-ray fluorescence.
Great. And well, basically, to conclude, just want to ask you the question, as you said, what inspired you, and you advised that you wanted to make the life of the users more comfortable, right?
Yes.
How do you think, do you feel the same? Do you have the same position now? And do you think that all new technologies will make life of the XRF users easier? All new Elvatech technologies that will bring it?
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, it was the first our idea how to make the instrument which will be more comfortable and more easy to use by the customers, and this continue to be, because we produce the instrument for our customers, not for ourselves.
Yes, to make their life easier and to make the analysis.
And their job more effective.
That's great. All right, so that was the interview with Mr. Alexander Filippo, our director and our founder. And well, as we can summarize, and as you just heard, the main plan of Elvatech is to stick with the time, to provide new trends to the market, to get more influence in the market in the matter to help, and to make the user's life more comfortable. And well, thank you very much, Mr. Alexander. It was a pleasure for me to host and to talk today to you. And well, if you like this interview, just put the like button, and we really appreciate it, because it also moving our channels forward and open eyes to many people who might have wanted. And if you like this video, you can also comment on it and also ask us some questions, which we will be happy to answer to you. And watch our future videos, in which we will tell you about even more advances and practical uses of XRF equipment what made by Elvatech.
Okay, Denis, thank you very much for these interesting questions, and see you again.
Right, thank you very much. Yes, and if you will give us like really cool question, we definitely will make the second session, because we think the most responsible person to answer to this is Mr. Alexander Filippo.
Yes, please.
Yes, all right.
With
Thank you
pleasure.
very much, guys. All right, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
All right.